I'm okay if if this podcast thing, if it only touches 10 people. Like,
That means you checked your heart. You
yes,
checked your,
it's all about your heart posture. Like, I really mean that.
Y'all gotta tune in because it's good. It's a good one.
If you can't seem to forgive, you fighting with your pride. I gotta stand on this word and I can't compromise. Only a matter of time before.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hi.
It's good to see you, man. It feel like I haven't seen you in a couple of Sundays, which I haven't because I haven't been in church. But how have you been?
I've been good. I'm glad to be here. We've been talking about it for a minute now.
Yes, we've been talking about it for a minute, and I've been putting things together, and I was like, and you know the crazy part is, people been asking me like, how are you picking people to come on? And it ain't like I had a crazy list, like, oh, this and this and that. I have been allowing God to give me my list. So, and I mean that so seriously. I think I seen you walking, and I'm like, I don't know. I had this thing about like people need to be heard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Melicia, how I see you, we already talked about how I see you, man.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, she has a light on her and she needs to be heard. And I know you be on TV already and I know, but like people get to see you in that light, but they don't get to see you in the light that they're about to see you in.
Well, what's so beautiful about that? And it's like you're a blessing. You don't even know it. Lately, I've been getting really clear on what makes me happy, and thought-provoking conversations.
Right.
It's something that makes me happy. So I've been asking for that. You know, you have your friends, or for me, I've had a few friends, like I'm lucky that I can go deep with, you know, but those conversations don't come around all the time.
No, they don't.
So I've been yearning for one, so thank you.
That's
thank
good,
you for having
man.
me.
Like I said before, like, time is very important. And for you to say yes to it because, you know, think about it. It's so many podcasts out. It's so many shows out that you don't know what you're going to expect when you come on. So for you literally say yes without even like, I think I told you a little bit about it. You was like, oh, no problem. Like, I'm coming. Like, just let me know.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like, okay, cool. You know, like, I'm just looking forward to people to like ask me like, okay, so you know, what is it really about? But you didn't give me that. And I was just like,
I know you are good people.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But like I said, man, time is so important and you spending it today. You know what I'm saying? And you going to spend it. It's going to be worth every bit of it, y'all. So with that being said, man, we talking about fear.
We are.
We talking about fear, man. Fear can do a lot of things to us. It can cripple us. It can have us doubting ourselves. It can have us doing a lot of things, man, and I want you to break that down. Like, what has fear done to you over your life?
It's caused a lot of restless nights, tears, unnecessary worries, but it's also developed me a lot.
Yeah.
I'm in this phase now. I'm speaking it and I'm claiming it because it is true. I'm changing my relationship with fear and how I view fear.
Yeah.
And it has crippled me in the past in certain instances. But now I want to take the boogeyman face off of it. And there are certain times where you should pay attention to fear, right? Because it's protecting you from physical harm. But there are other instances where it literally is just thoughts, you know, negativity. It's just, it's not real. It's an illusion.
Yes.
So it's having enough discernment to understand the face of fear, not understand it, but to be able to perceive and know that's fear.
Right.
And then also understanding how your mind works.
Yeah.
So I've really been doing that work and understanding that fear is going to be there. You know, I just don't have to give it as much power as I have in the past. That's
facts. That's so true. Thinking about just you talking about like the boogeyman. We spoke about this off air, but it was one of those things where I talked about fear and how and not to just dive straight into it, y'all, man, but we talked about fear and how I am fearful of losing people, so I stay away from them. And you said something like so important. You was like, but they're not gone yet.
There's some quote, and I'm probably not gonna get it right,
Yeah.
but it talks about how you fear causes you to die 100 times or something, and you haven't died.
That's crazy.
It's something along those lines. I mess
Yeah.
it up a lot, but basically, you were talking about being afraid of losing someone really close to you, so you don't get close to them.
Yeah.
Fear is actually causing you to do the opposite of doing what you should do in this moment, which is enjoying your loved one. I'm just really understanding. There's been so much happening in this world. Like, to feel anxiety is normal. Like, we are experiencing, I mean, we just got out of a pandemic.
Let's
Just
talk about that.
With social media, the 24/7 news cycle, there's a lot being thrown at us, and humans are literally evolving. We're guinea pigs in this phase. Like, you know, we've never been in a space like this. So there's a lot coming at us. And when it comes to that's why I think it's just important, or at least for me, is just building a new relationship with fear and understanding my mind and not allowing it to take the joy out of life. Like, life is here for us to experience, to grow, and to develop, to enjoy as well. So you should be enjoying your loved one, milking all the time you have with them, instead of fearing losing them. Like, for me, I can sit and write my gratitude list and think about how much I love my parents. And then the thought that comes right after that is, well, one day I'm gonna lose them. Like, I've literally Googled how to feel gratitude without feeling fear of loss. Because it's like, it takes away the nice feeling, you know? And I think it's a balance of understanding that things are gonna happen. You're gonna lose people. That's life. But really asking yourself, well, how are you gonna choose to view this life thing, right? Do you believe that we go on forever? Or do you believe that we don't?
Have you know what? It's crazy. You talked about, like, I'm going to lose. Have you ever had the fear of losing yourself?
Yes.
That's crazy.
On what level are you asking, though?
On whatever level that hit you.
Man, I think a lot. I'm an overthinker, a recovering overthinker.
Yeah.
But I've had moments where I would be overtaken by fear in my thoughts, so much so that I would feel like I'm losing myself, like on a literal level, to where you're literally trying not to lose your mind. That's how it would feel, you know? And in moments like that, I had to understand, well, who am I really? Like, who am I? Like, what feels like is being moved or disrupted is really not me. Like, I'm the one behind all of this, noticing this going on. So it's really getting comfortable with who you truly are, like at the root, like your essence, your spirit, the one who they say in like meditation, your awareness, your consciousness, like getting comfortable in that seat. Because everything else sometimes is just going to be going all over the place. But yeah, I've definitely experienced that. And I've had to work on grounding, because sometimes you can be so up here thinking so much in the clouds, and sometimes you just have to get back to the basics.
That's crazy. I believe Kanye mom said that to him. Me and my wife was watching a documentary, and I think she said one of the things I think he said that she said to him was, don't be so far don't have your head so far in the clouds that your feet are not on the ground. And I was like, dang, that made so much sense when I heard it, because we can, like, it's a balance to everything, but we can go off too far to the left or off too far to the right, and we will lose ourselves, you know what I'm saying, if we allow it, you know what I'm saying. But I want you to take me through a place of fear, because fear always stems from somewhere, you know what I'm saying. So like, I want you to take me through like a earlier stage of fear where it like kind of spawned from.
Yeah. Well, when I I feel like it might have been somewhat of a generational thing. Like, women have worried in the past.
Yeah.
The buck stops with me. My daughter's not going through that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to live like that. But when I was around 13, I look back at it now as a blessing because it made me, you know, build my faith with God. Like, it helped strengthen my own personal relationship with God.
Yeah.
But I started having panic attacks because I started seeing things going on in the world, and I just didn't understand how, like, God would allow. There was an earthquake in Haiti, like babies were on the side of the road on the news. I just didn't understand why things were happening. I found out some family stuff, like things were going on. So I thought I was fine, but what I didn't realize at the time, I know now, is that when you have intense emotions like fear or stress or worry, that's energy, and it gets stored in your body. And your body wants to release anything that is not of it, not of light, not of goodness. Just like, you know, we have an immune system that fights off disease. Our spiritual and emotional body does the same thing. So the way my body was releasing that energy was through panic attacks. And you literally feel like you're dying, but nothing's wrong with you.
That's crazy.
So I went to the hospital around 13. I went to the hospital like, six times that year. Doctors found nothing wrong. They were like, we're going to send you to a psychiatrist. And so I started going to a therapist because I just thought about death every day. Like, I didn't even see the point in thinking about next week because I was like, how do you know you're going to be here? Like, it just... It was a lot. But my therapist, thank God, was Christian. And she was like, this is an opportunity for you to deepen your faith. And for me, I'm like, well, I'm thinking about death all the time. I need to know I'm going to go somewhere after this. So that was kind of my fear, kind of drove me to get to know God on a personal level, you know, because I was raised in the church, but I didn't know God.
For yourself?
I did, but I didn't.
You was just learning it through them?
Through
your parents?
Through them, but when you gotta call on God yourself, you know, for your own safety and your own well-being, it's different. So that was a time where it started to rear its head, but I still ask myself to this day, where did this initial fear come from? Like, when I was younger, I told you this story already, but I'll just tell you again for the audience.
For sure.
I was about 3 or 4, and I went to the doctor. They gave me too much of a certain medicine. And I was in the car. My dad was driving me back home, and he looked back, and my eyes were just up, and I was gone. And he pulled over in a church parking lot, called the ambulance. Ambulance came. My mom and my sister also came too, but I was already in the back of the ambulance. So I flatlined, and they had to resuscitate me in the back of the ambulance. Crazy. I went to the Children's Hospital. I woke up early that morning, 5 a.m. or so. And I remember waking up and like seeing a cast on, it wasn't a cast, but they wanted to keep the
needles in?
The needles in, and I was a child. So I remember waking up and seeing that and just not understanding like what's going on. And when I woke up, this is according to my mom and my dad and my sister. I don't remember every single detail, but they said when I woke up, I was like, Mom, why were you and Fee, my sister, crying on your knees in the back of the truck? She was like, how did you know we were crying on our knees? And I was like, I was with God, I saw you. And she was like, what? And I was like, well, God told me if I come back, I guess insinuating that, I don't know, I didn't necessarily want to, but if I come back, he'll have me some grapes. And I used to love grapes as a kid. Dang. So I remember sometime the nurse was like, well, let's wait till the cafeteria opens. But I do remember walking down to the cafeteria and seeing like grapes just lined up on the cafeteria line, just lined up like a garden or something. They were fake, but there were some real grapes in the back. And I had some grapes. And my parents, my sister, they swear by this experience. And I was able to see them in the back of the car, and there's like really no way. So when I was going through that experience when I was about 13, questioning life and wanting to make sure there was something on the other side, my dad would remind me of that. And it's really, I now write down the moments or take a picture of the moments where God has shown its face to me. Because you need people to remind you, like sometimes when God has shown up or when, like, you know, things that you're forgetting, because fear will distort your way of thinking. Fear will have you forgetting things,
Yes, it will.
have you seeing stuff totally wrong. Like, even on a practical level, you walk out the house and you afraid you don't look good and somebody's whispering over here, you think they're talking about you, but they're not, you know? So he was able to remind me of those moments, or that moment in particular. Until this day, when I have fear or I think about death or whatever, I'm able to look back on that. That is like my piece of hope, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
That it continues. And, you know, I study all these different things, just the fact that we're even energy, and we, like, energy cannot be destroyed, you know, it just transforms. So, but what I'm realizing, and sometimes my overthinking doesn't help this, but sometimes it's a hard concept to grasp that we are so much more than this, because then all these other questions come up. And like, it's like
a rabbit hole.
This is real, you know? Like, some people live on surface, but like once your eyes are open, you're like, this is real. This is like, this is real stuff, you know?
It's, man, like, it is real. You talking about is real, like the fear of like lack. Like, think about that, like the fear, like we're adults now, right? You know what I'm saying? Everybody, we got to pay bills and stuff. Like how you said, like fear will have you running, you running yourself rampant about how am I gonna do this, how am I gonna do that, how am I gonna do this, and it's like the fear of if you say for instance you have a poverty mindset,
right,
in a sense of like me, I'm like, I need to make this money by tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or unless I'm a fear of being on the street. You know what I'm saying? And like people really deal with that. And like it's crazy because like how we talked about, like fear is a real thing, but you got to know how to, I guess, like channel it in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember talking to you and I was telling you about like my past life of like playing sports and how like I was afraid of hitting another person, another human being. But then once I did it, I was like, oh, this is okay, cool. And now they teach you how to tackle. Now it's like, okay, you don't just go in there and just, you know what I'm saying? So
you just hit something really important. Understanding takes away a lot of fear.
Yeah.
Like when you're on a plane, a lot of people are afraid of turbulence,
that part,
right?
Yeah.
But you see the flight attendants just
chilling, still walking past trying to give you water.
Right, and the pilots are probably in the cockpit talking about something else, you know, because they
Yeah.
understand how a plane works.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when you don't understand, fear comes up. So for me, recently, I had to overcome a lot of fear. I'm not sure if it was stored fear or what, but it helped me to understand more of how the mind works and how thoughts work and how I knew this conceptually, that you don't have to believe every thought you think and you're not your thoughts, but I literally had to put it into practice.
Yes.
So
it's a daily thing.
It is.
Like you can have a good, like say for instance you woke up today and it was a great day. Tomorrow may look total opposite of that. And it's like, how did we get here? Like I was just good the other day. I deal with that a lot. Like I deal with that a lot. And it's like sometimes I don't know how to deal with it. Sometimes sometimes we pray, sometimes we do other stuff just to kind of like.
You deal with what in particular?
Like those thoughts, like how you said, like basically the battle of the mind, like of the fear. You know what I'm saying? And it's I don't know. Like I said, it's like one day you up, one day you down, and it's like you're trying to hold on to like what you said. You like perfect example. You said I can go back to the time where my dad told me, like you're good. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I heard somebody say this, like sometimes we forget how many times God brought us out and how many times like that's the same thing with fear. It's
easy to forget
it's crazy.
Biologically, our mind does that because there was a point in time where we had to make sure we were safe from harm, right? So you think about danger more than you think about the good.
The good,
you know,
it outweighs it for sure.
Yeah.
It outweighs it for sure. And sometimes when you in it, I don't know. Like sometimes when it's too good, you be like, hold on. It's too good to be true. Like then, and that's also where fear creep in too.
Oh, it's
Like,
such a
yeah,
it steals your joy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
I-
actually crazy.
My goal, my dream is I want to enjoy life. And
Yeah.
with that though, I'm learning as I'm maturing. That doesn't mean every day is going to be perfect or I'm going to be happy every second, you know?
Yes.
But I do want to get to a point where I've cultivated like my peace enough to know how to get back to that place, even
Yeah.
if it takes some time, you know?
Yeah.
I think for a long time, I was just afraid of being sad. I just didn't want to feel sad feelings. But in order to have a full human experience, we have to experience the good and the bad. Like that's just a
Yeah.
part of our like growth development
Yeah.
process here.
Oh, I got a question.
What?
Has fear affected? How has fear affected like your loved ones that's close to you? It could be friends, but like how has what you've gone through affected like a person in a negative or in a positive way? Like, but yeah, let's hit on the negative way. Like, how has it affected? Because I feel like it's somebody out there that needs help with that. Because we all go through our own things, and sometimes we think that they don't know what I'm going through, and you kind of treat certain people wrong. You know, like not a wrong way, but you kind of treat them not in the way that you should because you're going through what you're going through. How has fear affected like friendships or just like loved ones?
On a practical level, I would say it's messed with some of my friendships, messed with some experiences, good experiences, because I'll start comparing myself. I feel like at the root of comparison is fear. In that way, I would say, but I've luckily, I've been blessed with a pretty good support system. So I haven't necessarily, if anything, I'm really good.
Okay.
Okay. I'm really good at using my network, my tribe. So if I'm feeling something, I don't necessarily run away from people. I go toward my trusted circle, which is like 2 people, you know? Luckily I have that. Some people, you know.
No,
it's a blessing.
Have anybody, you know what I'm saying? Like has it affected like your relationship life? Like far as with
I think fear pops up like in little ways in relationships. But those people romantically, they're not here for a reason.
So the fear helped it in a good way.
Right. More so, I mean, no, I would say it's helped me learn about myself.
Okay.
So when fears pop up in a relationship, like if I'm out with my dude or a dude I had at the time, and I feel like he looked over there a little bit too long,
like
at another, you know, and something will trigger inside me, you know.
Do you point back at yourself?
Yeah, for sure. First and foremost,
crazy.
always. I mean, I will point back at myself and say, why did that, you know?
No, I was thinking like, because you talked about comparison.
So I would look back more so at myself to ask myself. Like the fear came up and I'm like, why am I feeling insecure in this moment? It just becomes more of like a check-in for me to see, you know, is there anything I need to work through? As far as comparison, I also check back in with myself when that happens, because it's an internal thing.
But have you always been like that? Like, has it been a time and place like where you weren't that where you weren't that aware? Yeah.
For sure. When I started doing it when I was younger, I grew up as a baby, so I got all the attention, and you know, when I got into the world, I saw that they didn't love me as much as my family did.
Dang.
That's life.
No, that is life,
but for me, as somebody who also is like, I'm a words of affirmation person. I started seeking validation outside of myself and thinking perfectionism was the way to get that validation.
Right.
So when I was younger, when I would compare myself, it will be more like, I gotta win. I gotta be the best.
Yeah.
Like, I might feel down right now, but I'm gonna come back stronger, you know?
Yeah.
It was more so in a toxic way. But once you keep feeding that beast, you just get to a point where you're like, I'm sick of this. I don't want to live like this. It's taking away joy, and it's taking on a whole mind of its own now, to where it's doing it in places where I am safe and I don't need to compare.
Yeah.
And no one's against me. No one's competing with me. I'm actually just competing by myself.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't even need to do that because I am enough.
That
you know?
is facts. Yeah.
Like, it's literally something that started as a child because I was trying to protect myself or be seen or noticed. That a habit that carried on into a time and space where it didn't even need to exist.
Where do you feel like you learned that from?
The comparison?
Yeah, like what you said. Yeah.
I think society, you know, I think as humans we have that natural desire to want to be seen and valued, and I think there were times as a child, you know, where I might have felt left out, or and then when I figured out why people value me or notice me, I got hooked onto that. And it was like, oh, this is my thing. This is why I'm special and important.
Yeah.
But if somebody else comes in the room with that same thing, I feel threatened, or I felt threatened.
Yeah.
So it's understanding the root cause of all of it and just taking that filter off. It's like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
Because it started to color, you know, my current experiences.
Right. So like in the professional aspect, like you being an entertainment journalist, is it fear in that? Like I know, like you a woman in this joint, like this industry is not, like how you said, the world is not nice, right? But like, what is the fear in the professional realm?
That's a good question. For me, it's been, how do I get to the next level?
Okay.
How, like, I have this huge life I dream, I want for myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to build for myself.
I was just gonna say that, you're gonna get it. Yeah.
Yes. So it's more so like, how do I do this? Like, what's the next step? And that's when you just have to remember you're doing this with God. That's really been it there, and maybe comparing along the lines like, maybe I should be doing more. They're doing this or this or that. Like, I'm not doing enough. I need to be doing more. But then what do? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So that's where fear has creeped up there. But as far as a professional, as far as me, I feel pretty safe and secure because I'm being myself, and no one can be me.
Okay.
And when I first started in this industry, I had a boss who told me, he hired me when I was very green. I had no experience to be on camera.
Man.
Yeah. It was a God thing. Like the whole way it worked out, we'll be talking forever if we talk about that. But his main piece of advice to me, because I was with people who've been in the industry for years, like sitting alongside them, he said, be yourself. That's my main piece of advice. Be you. So ever since then, it's been like, oh, that person's great. I love listening to them.
Yeah.
There's no need for me to feel threatened. Like, because all I need to do is show up and be myself, you know? Yeah,
that's all you got to do. Like, that's what I've been learning too. Like, stepping into a room and being okay with just being you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of ways that fear can creep in. Like, and I'm glad that you touched on your professional life, because it's a lot of fear in that. Like, excuse me, like I do photography. Like, you walk into a room that you've never been in before. Like how you talked about being green. Like, shout out to mentors that throw you in the fire, you know what I'm saying? But being green and walking into that room by yourself, that amount of pressure and fear is another thing. Because like how you said, the comparison, I got to do what they do. And it's like, no. Like, I'm glad that you had a boss that can tell you, hey, just be you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And from there, it's like cake. You know what I'm
perspective too, because I also was in a really like humbled place, because I was just glad to be there. I wasn't coming in thinking I deserved this. I was coming in like, God, you came through. Yeah. What do I need to learn? Okay, I messed up right there. That's fine. Yep. So I'm asking like, how? So it's like, have fun.
Have fun with it.
You know, and don't let the fear of losing, the scarcity mentality, all of that, take away a moment that should just be fun. It should be enjoyable.
And like how you said, like, you're there already. Like how you talked about in the beginning, like, you're already in the room and you already allowing your mind to talk you out of the room. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. And how it's just not real. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the thing that we have conjured up in our head is not real, but just the piece of just us talking about the battle between, like, our minds is so crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's just, it's tough. Like,
it's really understanding that it's an opportunity when those thoughts come. It's an opportunity for growth, for reflection.
Right.
Don't absorb yourself in them in the moment, but take a moment to step back and reaffirm yourself.
Yeah.
And then when it's the right time and space, ask yourself, like, why were you feeling those ways? Is there somewhere you can grow that you saw somebody, you know, fully developed in, you know, and learn from them?
Yep.
And don't beat yourself up because we're human.
Yep.
You know, we have our things.
And we are worst critics.
Yeah,
we are worst.
Sure.
I forgot, somebody said, like, we'll say the meanest things to ourselves, but we won't allow somebody else to say the things that we say to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's so crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? That we that rough with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't fail. Like how you said, the perfectionists start sliding through, and now it's like, you got to do a certain way. But if you walk in with the I'm a student, you know, just that type of view, like, perspective, you'll go farther. You know what I'm saying? I always tell myself, like, just remain the student. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
In life in general. Because I got to a
Facts.
point where I was like, God, I thought I did the healing. You know, I thought another wave, like, really, again, we have to, this is deeper than I thought. But then I'm on the other side of it, like, wow, I grew into even more of a stronger woman than I thought I could be, you know.
Yep.
There's so much more that I didn't know was there.
Yeah. And just knowing, like, each level is not supposed to be easier. Like, it's not supposed to be, like, you know when they say, oh, we going glory to glory. And it's like, that sound good, but with new levels come new devils. So it's like, each and every level you get to is going to come with its strongholds, but it's only, like how you said, it's only sharpening the tools in our toolbox.
Yeah, and
You know
I
what I'm
thank
saying?
God that I'm able, and it's speaking to that, I believe that God doesn't give you anything you're not ready for.
Facts.
Like this, I've had an experience, this transformation that really, in November, I had a panic attack. I haven't had one in a while, but it just brought up all this fear that I've literally for months been overcoming, just trying to feel normal again.
Yeah.
And I thank God that I had seasons to look back on, though, where my faith was built before. And I'm like, okay, well, this happened. Oh, when I was 13, though, God, you used that. That was hard. I was thinking about death every day. But
Using
I
your
found a new
testimony.
relationship with you, though, and it strengthened me. You know, like you're able to look back. It's like, thank you that you're not putting me in this fire with nothing to hang on to.
Yeah, you're ultimately using your own testimony. You know what I'm saying? That's why they say we have to, like, lean on testimonies, because, like, it is true. Like, if God can do it for that person, or like how you said, you looking into yourself, like, if God can do it, he did it for me once before, he will do it again. You know what I'm saying? But lastly, like, I would ask you what would you say to fear if fear was sitting right in front of you? Like, what is that thing that you would, if you had the opportunity to confront fear in a physical
It's so
form?
funny. I had a dream where I looked up and there was like this boogeyman just sitting on the hill, and I just flicked him off. I looked at him and I said, because I'm tired of you. You getting on my nerves. Like, so part of me is like, flick him off, or her, or it. But the other side is just a thank you. You know, like I told you, I've been changing my relationship with fear. And if I believe that I'm always covered and protected, that God is ordering my steps, that everything is working for my good, I know that if there is resistance allowed into my life, fear, whatever, ultimately it has the opportunity to grow me. And it has. It's really made me realize how strong I am mentally.
Yeah.
You know, it's helped me learn new things, you know, to be able to share and have conversations like this, you know, without fear.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be having this conversation right now to help others. So a lot of times the fears we have really do need more of a compassionate response, because they come from that little child who didn't understand why the world seemed so bad, or, you know, was scared of rejection or this or that. It doesn't necessarily need that you're the enemy, because sometimes it needs that love. It has its different faces. Sometimes it is straight up the enemy, and you don't belong here, get out of my head. In other cases, it's there to teach you something. And I think for a while, like, I was just afraid to look at it in the face. But it's like, once you do, the boogeyman-ness of it all starts to like dwindle away.
That's good, man. So
I will also tell fear, stay in your place. Just know.
Oh yeah.
Know that, stay in your place.
Most definitely. I feel like you gotta be able to tell it to sit down at times, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because,
and you don't run my life.
Yeah.
And you never will run my life.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts, man. But with that, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you, man. That was amazing. I pray that it helped whoever it needs to.
It helped me.
Yeah,
Therapeutic
I feel like everybody in this room it helped. You know what I'm saying? Because we all deal with some, like how you said, some type of form of fear. You know what I'm saying? So thank you. Like I said again, like this was amazing.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you for
it.
having me.
Okay, now
faith without work is dead. We know that. You know what I mean? So you physically have to do things for faith to activate.
You people pleasing and giving peace to the wrong step. Come boss up, yeah.
If you don't learn to forgive, it's gonna make you even more bitter, and it's gonna put you in a more dark space, because it's not about them, it's about you.
Through our lens, how I see it, baby. We took our time to build this situation.
You need people to remind you, like sometimes when God has shown up, because fear will distort your way of thinking.
All right, bro. So tell me, what is Through Our Lens? Through Our Lens is past photography. It's past anything that has to do with a cameraman. It's actually how we live life, bro. How everybody has a perspective.